Hi, Michelle here, the Get Unstuck Coach, and I actually just wanted to come to you today to have a bit of a talk about fear, and if fear is actually influencing your life in any way, either by small or a large amount. But I'm just coming to you with a little bit more understanding and a little bit of a summary about this. And if you'd actually like to delve in a lot deeper, I've actually done an expanded version of this information, and you can access it after you've looked at this one if you'd like to, and that is just getting in touch with me and I'll be able to give you access to that. So let's see if this resonates with you in any way. And all I wanted to talk about at the beginning was the fear of failure, a common one, right? I'm just going to go through the common ones. So the fear of not succeeding, meeting expectations can hold people back. Of course, we know that. It holds them back from taking risk, pursuing any of their goals or dreams and having to step outside their comfort zone. And this fear can actually lead to procrastination, self-doubt, of course, missed opportunities, and there's also that, personal growth and development. So that's one of the first fears. And the next fear, of course, is the fear of rejection. So the fear of not being accepted or, valued by others can prevent people from forming new relationships in their lives or expressing themselves, on that authentic level, or seeking help when they actually need it and support. And this fear can actually lead to social anxiety, isolation, and this lack of connection with others. And that's the fear of rejection. And then there's the fear of change. So the fear of change is, the fear of the unknown or uncertainty that comes with change can hold people back from embracing new opportunities, making those important decisions, or adapting to, evolving circumstances. So this fear can actually lead to getting stuck. It can lead to that stagnation, the resistance to growth, and missed chances for that personal and, of course, professional development. So another fear is the fear of judgment. So the fear of being criticized, ridiculed, or judged by others, it inhibits people from sharing their thoughts and ideas or even their talents, not only to the people in their world, but to the world. And this fear can actually lead to self-consciousness, self-censorship, and a reluctance to stand out and take a risk in any social or professional setting, which could be your work. And then there's the fear of confrontation. So the fear of conflict or confrontation, prevents people from addressing issues, setting boundaries, or advocating for themselves in relationships or even at work. And this fear leads to unresolved conflicts, that passive aggressive behavior, and a lack of assertiveness in your communication. The next one is the fear of success. So the fear of achieving your goal or potential can hold people back from embracing their accomplishments, taking on new challenges, or even stepping into leadership roles. So this fear can lead to self-sabotage, the imposter syndrome, and that reluctance to actually shine and stand out in whatever you endeavour to do. So these everyday fears, there's only a small amount I've gone through, can actually manifest in various aspects of your life, hindering your personal growth, your personal fulfillment and well-being. So, by recognizing and addressing these fears, people can actually break free from limiting beliefs, take these courageous steps towards their goals, and, cultivate that sense of resilience in the face of any challenges. So when someone is not consciously connecting their behaviours or their thoughts to underlying fears that may be actually resonating in your life, you can actually experience, a range of symptoms or even challenges that manifest in your everyday life. So these symptoms, they might be subtle and you might actually just overlook them, as people may not actually recognize deeper fears that resonate from that and that are, actually driving their actions. So I just wanted you to be able to look at some ways, when someone is not actually, or you're not actually connecting to your behaviours to the fear. And these behaviours, that are related to those fears can be procrastination. So people may consistently, or you may delay or avoid tasks, any projects, or even decisions without even realising that the fear of failure or perfectionism is actually driving the behaviour. And then there's self-doubt. So people you may struggle with feelings of inadequacy, having that imposter syndrome or lack of confidence, without even identifying that the underlying fear of not being good enough or the fear of judgment is what's ruling that. And then there's avoidance. So people may, and you may, avoid certain situations. You might avoid certain conversations or even opportunities. Avoid opportunities without even linking this avoidance to the underlying fears of rejection, the underlying fears of the fear of failure or change. And then one that I hear quite a lot is that perfectionism. So people may set excessively high standards for themselves, and of course they obsess over detail or strive for that flawless performance without actually recognizing that the fear of failure or the fear of criticism, is fueling their perfectionistic tendencies. And then there's overthinking. So people, or you, may ruminate excessively, worry about potential outcomes that haven't even happened yet, or engage in catastrophic thinking without actually acknowledging the fears that are driving those anxious thoughts. And then there's the people pleasing. So the people may actually prioritize other people's needs and opinions over their own. And they struggle to actually assert boundaries or seek external validation without even realizing that the fear of conflict or rejection is influencing that people-pleasing behavior. And then there's control issues. People may exhibit a strong need for controlling everything in their life, and they resist change, or they struggle with that flexibility without connecting these behaviors to underlying fears of uncertainty, the loss of control, or even the fear of failure. And then we have self-sabotage. So people may actually undermine their own success. They sabotage opportunities that have come their way, or they engage in self-destructive behaviours without recognising that fear of success and the fear of change or the fear of vulnerability is actually at play. And then we have relationship patterns. So people may actually struggle with intimacy, trust issues, or difficulties in forming close connections without actually understanding how the underlying fears of rejection, the underlying fear of abandonment, and vulnerability are actually impacting on their relationships. So the physical symptoms. So people may actually experience physical manifestations of stress, anxiety, or even tension without even realizing that the underlying fears are contributing to their physical symptoms. And in stress, we know that we get headaches. Anxiety, we get these sore shoulders. Tension that's held in the body that gives us these aches and pains. So overall, when someone is not, or you're not, consciously connecting your behaviours, your thoughts to fear, they may continue to experience challenges continually, limitations, and this emotional distress without addressing the root causes of their fears. So when you can actually recognize and acknowledge these underlying fears, can actually be crucial steps towards your personal growth, towards your self-awareness, and overcoming obstacles in various areas of your life. So going a little bit deeper, with the fear of rejection, there is difficulty in forming new relationships or even making friends. There is that avoidance of social situations or even gatherings. The fear of reaching out for help or support when you need it. I can do it on my own. The insecurity in romantic relationships leading to jealousy or even clinginess. Love that word. And there's a hesitancy to actually express your emotions or even, vulnerability within your relationship, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and asking for what you want. Going deeper on that fear of failure, procrastination or avoidance of challenging tasks or even projects that you may or may not, you may like to do, but they're too challenging. So people will set these low goals, or they won't even actually set any goals at all. I know plenty of people like this. And then it's that imposter syndrome that settles in, and that self-doubt that actually follows on. And that can affect you in your home life and also your professional settings. It's the inability to take risk or even pursue opportunities for growth. So you might actually sign up to something and then you renege, or you put a part payment down and you don't show up. So that's that opportunities for growth you take yourself, you subtract from. And then there's those self-sabotaging behaviors to actually avoid potential failure. Fear is driving that. And then delving deeper into that fear of change, the resistance to trying new experiences or stepping outside of that comfort zone. Difficulty adapting to transitions or life changes that get dealt with us. Staying stuck in stagnation in your personal or your professional growth. Anxiety over uncertainty or that lack of control in changing these circumstances. You don't feel that you can change anything. The fear of missing out on new opportunities or growth potential. Delving deeper, of course, into the fear of judgment. So, holding back opinions or ideas in a group setting. You know that you come up with the answer, but you're not going to say anything because there's this fear that can actually be holding you back. Then there's that self-censorship, in a creative or, into expressive endeavours because you're self-criticising. The avoidance of sharing personal interests or passions with people. Difficulty, in asserting your boundaries or standing up for yourself, standing in your strength. And then there's that overthinking, in social interactions and seeking external validations consistently. And the fear of confrontation, so avoiding difficult conversations or conflict resolution. So suppressing those emotions or concerns to maintaining peace within, that inner harmony, that inner peace. Allowing boundaries to be crossed without actually speaking up about them. And then resentment or frustration building up in relationships or in the workplace because you haven't done or said your boundaries. Difficulty in advocating for yourself or addressing any grievances that are going on. Nobody's listening to me, but are you even saying anything? And then there's that fear of success. So self-sabotage. When you're on the brink of actually achieving your goals, self-sabotage comes in, gives you that answer because fear is driving it. So the fear of increased responsibility is creeping in. I've got to do more than I actually know that I have to, but you haven't even lived it yet. So the fear of increased responsibility or expectations that come with success, that imposter syndrome and the feelings of that unworthiness despite your accomplishments, that you don't deserve to have this because this is what your parents said was not possible. So avoiding opportunities for that advancement that you can be doing in life and gaining that recognition, or or just downplaying your achievements to avoid standing out or drawing any attention to yourself. Oh, you've done a great job. Oh yeah, that was nothing. Acknowledging it, receiving it. So these everyday life problems stemming from fear can manifest in various aspects of everyone's lives, personal, social, professional life, impacting their overall well-being and their fulfillment in life. And recognizing and addressing these fears can help people overcome obstacles, foster that personal growth within inside, and cultivate this resilience in the face of all challenges. And that is what I do when I work with my clients. When they come and work with me in one of my programs, this is what we will actually go through, is finding those deeper fears and going through and getting to those root causes of those problems. And by doing that, you can actually work closely with me, one-on-one, because this is what my passion is. The last 30 years of me having experience in the fields of working with people, one-on-one, dealing with the body, dealing with where we hold these emotions and these fears and things that are stopping us from moving and, making us stay stuck. This is what we actually can move on and move to. And if you'd actually like to be able to find out more, delve deeper into these fears, I've done a more in-depth talk on it. Reach out and connect with me and I'll be able to point you in the right direction. And if you'd actually like to work with me in any way, there'll also be a link in ways that you can actually work with me and hop onto one of my programs, because there is a program where you can work just one-on-one and catch up every fortnight. There's, of course, a program that you can actually do a 12-week intensive and we can nut out stuff that's going on for you now. And I promise you, you will get that change quicker than those 12 weeks. And most of my clients usually do. And then you can hop on for another 9 months and work with me fortnightly just to get all that fulfillment and get that warrior resilience that I love bringing out in people. And then, if you want, that of course is the signature program, or you can just do the 12-week program on its own. But if you'd actually like to know more in any way, shape or form, and you've liked what you've heard, I'd love you to be able to share this with someone who might actually benefit from you. The next thing is to take that first step. It's not about getting it right. It's not about when the timing is right, because if not now, then when? I do hope that you have been given some insight into what fear could be doing, and allow your mind to just ponder a little and get a little bit more deep thinking and spark something inside you, because I love igniting your purpose.